Thank you, Freak. It is a Cloud9 victory today, moving on to another best of five soon enough, but earning that Worlds qualification. I know Spica and Fudge both had expected this to be a 3-0 for their respective teams, but I want to know, what were your expectations for this match, and how did this compare to that?
I mean, honestly, like I expected us to win convincingly. We did not win convincingly at all today. Besides game 5, I guess. I think the early games were just much better than ours, and I think we were falling into some of their. I think game 1, they didn't do anything actually. I just like threw the game completely by ulting bots. So for example, after that, I was like, wow, okay, it might be a long series because I'm just running it down. But I think in general, the early games have been better than ours. So it was definitely harder than I expected it to be. And yeah, I'm just glad that we had the better mental, the better adaptation, and we just ended up winning in the end.
Persevering all the way through until the end of game 5. Now, I know the Twitterverse had some theories onto what was making Cloud9 look a bit different going on from game to game, but I want to know for you, what do you feel was it is that allowed you all to flip the switch?
I mean, I don't know honestly what it is, but it just feels like when I'm 1-2 down in a series, we just always win. Like, I don't know why it's like that or how it is, but we always end up winning. So it's just, I think it's just like in a series, better mental will always win. Unless you're just a much worse team, then you won't win. But yeah, it was just about like staying compact, knowing that we are capable of coming back, and just figuring out what champions we want to do it with, like what is their priors, our priors. Like they've done a little bit better with Orianna than I expected them to, or like as a whole team, the way they play with the champions. So we just almost lost 2 games to it and had to ban it after, right? So it was just about like adapting to their strengths and adapting to our strengths later on.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they came out with a lot of force right off the start. They had a lot of proactive play, but some picks with which they're comfortable. The Azir came out, Nocturne there in the end. But how do you feel that TSM was today as a team when you compare it to the last times you played them during the regular season, where it was usually a bit of more delayed approach?
I mean, I think TSM played very well, like all respects to them. I think Power played very well as well, and I think they showed up today, and I'm just glad that we got to beat them and make Worlds again. There was this whole thing about, you know, like Cloud9 no Worlds. So it's been definitely a very stressful summer because we like sucked, and I mean we're still not great, but we're like not bad, you know. So making it back to Worlds, or making it back to Worlds, me and making Worlds with Cloud9 is a very huge step for our team, and I'm just hopeful that we can, keep grinding, you know.
It's no secret to you that the pressure was there, C9 and TSM both having so much history behind them, but also you specifically with all eyes on the trade that happened earlier, G2 falling in their match in the LEC at the start of the day. I don't know if you've spoken to anyone on that side, but for you specifically, how were you handling that individual pressure with all of the eyes directly on you because of these decisions made?
I mean, like, part of me wanted to make roles together with G2 because I like them and they're my friends. And then when they lost, I was like, maybe feeling a little bit like, oh, I guess if they lost, maybe I don't have to make roles as well. So my first games were kind of shaky, but I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I really want to make roles anyways. So I think then we just like, I just tried my best, and yeah, hopefully we make it, and we did. So, I mean, yeah, it's not like, I don't know, it's just a skill, you know.
Well, and overall, looking at the series, it was very apparent you wanted to go to Worlds. Everybody over on the C9 side did. And when I asked Fudge about your impact here in playoffs, he talked about how you're often the voice that kind of is there to pull back the team when necessary as well, and offering that kind of insight. In this series in particular, what role did you feel that you played in terms of communication and preparing the team for the pressures to come?
I mean, I think, for example, in the early games, maybe I had a bit of wrong mindset. Like I wanted to fight something. Like for example, when I want to fight some things, if we're not on the same page, the fight just looks very horribly. So it looks like one of my teammates is inting, or it looks like I'm inting, because we're just not on the same page. We don't know how we want to approach the fights, or like the skirmishes, let's say. And then it just looks like we're all running it down. So I just took a more laid-back approach myself as well. Like I kind of just start playing like I'm playing solo queue in a way where I will do my best given the situation that's given to me in the game, and not make a mistake, because if I make mistakes, we might just end up losing. So that's how I went into the game, like into game 4 and 5 hits, and those games are just much better. In general, I like to play like I like to play to the maximum, and I like to play to get everything we can get. But sometimes it doesn't really work out as I imagine it to. So I just have to take a step back myself and also remind the rest of our team that like we are just really fine winning if we are 2K down or something, 3K down. Like I have this theory that goal is just an illusion and it's just a number, and you can always win. So yeah, it feels a bit annoying to like be put behind every game, kind of, and then fight back from it. But I think we are good at doing it, and maybe when we start winning some early games more, we'll become really insane.
In the end, I'm sure it feels good to end on such a high positive note as well, with it being so Cloud9 sided. The journey is not done, though, here on your efforts to make it into the finals and get an LCS championship. You're facing 100 Thieves next. Abadaga in the mid lane, a closer, impacting the map more than he ever has before. What are your thoughts on that upcoming matchup?
100 Thieves look very good, I have to say. I didn't expect much of them going into playoffs. I actually expected EG to beat them. But yeah, they're definitely playing good. I think it's going to be a fun match, but I really want to get my revenge on TL because I feel like I underperformed the series and I got over my head. So I really want to make it back to finals, and 100 Thieves is just like a step to make it back to finals so I can beat TL. And I'm sorry that we're going to have to beat them as well. Yeah.
Well, we will await the steps that you take, Perkz. In the end, congratulations on this victory here today and earning that last spot to Worlds. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you very much for having me.
That is not the end of the Cloud9 voices we get to hear on this broadcast, though we are kicking it to a break. And on the other side, Sven is joining the Bud Light breakdown to wrap up our weekend. We'll see you there.